Daniel stepped into his backyard after work and immediately froze in place. Wet clothes were draped all across his freshly stained wooden fence once again. The neighbors laughed casually while their kids tossed more laundry into baskets nearby. Daniel clenched his jaw, realizing this had turned into a daily problem. He walked closer to inspect the damage and noticed dark water stains spreading across the expensive wood panels. The fence he had spent weeks restoring now looked worn and soaked. Every dripping towel hanging over the edge only made the damage worse. Daniel stood there silently, staring at the mess with growing frustration. Across the yard, Miguel and Elena stretched large bed sheets over the fence, as if it belonged to them. Their children helped pin socks and shirts across the top boards. No one even bothered asking for permission at all. Daniel watched quietly from his patio, his anger slowly building. Water dripped steadily down the polished wood as heavy jeans and towels baked under the evening sun. The protective coating had already begun peeling away. Daniel remembered how much money and effort he had poured into repairing it last summer. Seeing it ruin again pushed him closer to taking action. That night, Daniel sat alone on his patio with repair receipts spread across the table. He calculated how much damage the constant moisture had caused over the past few months. The numbers only made his irritation grow stronger. He finally decided he would confront the neighbors directly. The next morning, Daniel approached Miguel calmly beside the fence. He politely explained that the water was damaging private property and asked him to stop hanging clothes there. Miguel simply shrugged and laughed like it was nothing serious. The lack of respect irritated Daniel more than the damage itself. Less than 24 hours later, the laundry was back again. Colorful shirts and blankets covered the fence from one side to the other. Daniel stared through his kitchen window in disbelief. In that moment, he realized the neighbors had no intention of stopping. Daniel grabbed measuring tape and carefully inspected every section along the fence line. He wrote numbers down in a small notebook while planning something new. The neighbors watched curiously from their yard, unaware of his intentions. Daniel remained completely focused on his project. Early Saturday morning, a large truck arrived carrying metal fencing materials and construction supplies. The noise drew attention from the entire street. Miguel peeked through his curtains while Daniel confidently signed the delivery paperwork. Something big was clearly about to happen. All weekend, Daniel worked under the hot sun, installing sleek angled toppers along the fence. The smooth design made it impossible for fabric to stay balanced on top. Each panel was carefully secured into place. By Sunday evening, the entire fence looked modern and untouchable. The following morning, Miguel walked outside carrying a basket full of wet towels. He confidently tossed one over the fence, but it immediately slid down onto the grass. He tried again with the same result. The children stared in confusion, while Daniel quietly sipped his coffee nearby. For the first time in months, Daniel's fence stayed completely clean and dry. No dripping blankets blocked his backyard view anymore. He relaxed on his patio chair, enjoying the peaceful silence. The upgraded fence had solved everything without a single argument. Miguel stormed toward the property line, angrily pointing at the new fence design. He complained that Daniel had made drying clothes impossible. Daniel calmly reminded him that it was private property. Nearby residents began paying attention to the argument. Soon, the entire neighborhood started discussing the fence conflict. Some homeowners quietly supported Daniel's decision after hearing the full story. Others believed both sides had taken things too far. But everyone agreed that boundaries between neighbors mattered. The next afternoon, Daniel applied a fresh protective stain across the repaired wood. Sunlight reflected beautifully off the smooth panels. The damage from months of moisture was finally fading away. Daniel felt proud seeing his hard work restored once again. Meanwhile, the Rivera family returned home with portable drying racks strapped to the roof of their car. Miguel looked annoyed as he unloaded the equipment into the backyard. Elena remained quiet, clearly exhausted from the conflict. The neighbors had finally found their own solution. The children struggled to carry fallen towels and blankets across the yard while their parents argued nearby. Every attempt to hang laundry over the fence failed instantly. Elena slowly began to realize that Daniel's frustration had been justified all along. The tension within the family continued to grow. That evening, Daniel hosted a peaceful barbecue on his patio. Friends complimented the upgraded fence and joked about how professional it looked. The backyard finally felt private and relaxing again. Daniel smiled for the first time in weeks. Up close, the fence revealed smooth angled toppers running along every section. The design looked modern, while completely preventing anything from hanging over it. Daniel had carefully researched local property rules before building it. Everything was fully legal. Miguel stood staring at the now unusable fence while holding a pile of wet towels in frustration. He realized his old routine was completely finished. There was no easy way around Daniel's modifications. For the first time, he finally respected the boundary. One afternoon, another homeowner stopped to compliment Daniel on his patience throughout the situation. They admitted many residents had noticed the repeated disrespect long before the argument began. Daniel simply explained that he wanted peace and privacy. The conversation quickly spread through the neighborhood. At night, the backyard looked calm under soft patio lights. The polished fence glowed warmly, without any wet clothes hanging from it. Daniel sat quietly outside, enjoying the peaceful atmosphere. Months of stress slowly faded away. Peace had finally returned to the neighborhood. Like, subscribe, and comment where you're watching.